I could win if I had factory support. I've been racing for 5 years now. When does a team pick me up? Because it's getting super expensive. My kid is the next Tucker Hibbert. He just needs a shot. I've had some good ones over the years as a team owner, but it doesn't seem like it was that long ago that Dad and I were trying to figure out how to get me on a race team to take me to the next level. After being on factory race teams for 7 years and then starting Team LaVallee in 2009, I know what the team owners and manufacturers and sponsors are looking for, and that is what I'm going to share with you today. So 5 things that will help you land that factory ride. And I also had the opportunity to sit down with 2 of the godfathers of snowcross race teams, Scott Judnick and Steve Shearing, to hear their thoughts on this. They've been in the game for many, many years and had some great insight. And as a bonus, remember to stick around to the end of the video to hear what took me from being on a factory race team to forming my own factory race team. All right, I'm gonna start with the most important one, results. Results is why we race. Without results, that means minimal exposure for yourself and even less exposure for the sponsors that support you. When you're on the podium, you're getting exposure. People are able to see the products, hear about the companies that helped you get there, and people buy the products that are winning. They're a good product, capable of winning, which is more than enough for them to be able to use trail riding or whatever it may be. Some riders put a lot more focus on other things from the list that I'll be sharing, but the bottom line is without results, none of the other things will get you on a race team as a racer. You need to be able to show the race teams, the manufacturers, that you can go fast enough to get results for a team to take a chance on you.
Say number one, we're looking for guys that are committed and in shape, working hard. I mean, the whole package is important, and obviously if they're good speakers and good on the podium, all of those things play a factor, but number one is they got to get to the podium first.
So many people think that if they show up with a big race trailer and a fancy gear on and stuff, they're going to get this big factory ride. You got to pay your dues. You almost have to look at potential, because not everybody has the same equipment as they're coming through the ranks, and maybe one guy's results are due to having better equipment prepared or worse equipment prepared. So I see that if there's raw talent in there, obviously that's a big equation too, because we all want to win.
The next thing on the list, professionalism. What it means is to be a good representative of your sponsors, of your team, and of your sport. That's limiting inappropriate language, wearing the proper sponsor branded gear, being polite to fans, being respectful to people, talking highly of your sponsors and team, and taking the high road in all public settings. Emotions run high in competition. Any negative emotions that may be from adversity on the track or in competition, you need to take that negative emotion and let it out outside of the public eye. With social media, that's become a bigger concern because people can express themselves very easily now. And remember that once you put that up on social media, everyone can see that. Race directors, team owners, sponsors, people in general can see that. So it's become a lot bigger of a concern nowadays simply because it's so much easier to do that. And the other thing is you always got to be aware of where you are and what you're doing, because nowadays everyone's got a camera on their phone. You got to be paying attention to what you're doing, okay? When you're worked up about a race or something that went wrong or somebody said something on the social media, it's best just to wait a day to cool down and then respond instead of react. And in some cases, it's best just to say nothing at all. Think of it like going to the doctor's office. If the doctor says your body is responding to the medication, that's usually a good indicator when he says respond. But if he says your body is reacting, usually reacting is bad news. So that's the same thing here. Wait and respond, not react and regret.
We want guys that are going to be great with the sponsors, good people, good hardworking people, not bucking the system or what have you. Without the sponsors, the manufacturers, the sponsors and so forth, there is none of this.
Something that is very big on my list is attitude. It makes the good times great, and in the less than ideal times, it makes you motivated. With a positive attitude, you look at adversity in a problem-solving manner, and you're looking at, how can I fix this? How can I keep moving forward? With a negative attitude, you get a lot of the poor me's, the excuse making, getting upset and kicking things around, or walking off the track if your sled dies, any of that stuff. It's literally just a waste of time and energy that you could be putting towards trying to prevent or fix the problem at hand. And it's also not very professional looking, not a good look at all. A bad attitude is also passed easily throughout the other people on the team. And before long, everyone is upset, they're not having a good time, and they're not doing their best work. And that is not a winning formula. When you watch champions, they don't pout when they crash or they have misfortune that comes their way. They don't waste any time. They simply get back up and get going again. Always doing what they have control of. They have control of doing their best with the current situation. One of my favorite examples of this is when Tucker Hibbert got tangled up off the start and the right side of his handlebars literally broke off. Tucker remounted, completed the race as he learned how to turn with only his left arm and throttle the sled with the right side of the handlebars dangling from the throttle cable in his lap. It was incredible. He even started to double through the jumps. And because of his effort, with the handlebars broken half, he was still able to beat 3 riders in that final. If that would have been a tight points race, the end of the season, those 3 positions could have meant the difference between winning the championship and finishing second. So no matter what, you do the best in all situations. The race directors, team owners, sponsors, fans, they all see it and appreciate it. But more so, it's a great lesson that will serve you well throughout your life.
The whole picture is important. I don't like when I see whining and complaining and throwing stuff around. One of the things that I will not put up with is my people, my racers, beating up on the officials. We can have conversations. We're not always going to all agree, but I think it's very, very important that people understand that it is a privilege to be here, and all those people that are out there are getting paid very, very little to stand out there and 10, 15, 20 below weather to flag for us and so forth.
Next thing on the list is called baggage. I call it baggage. Once we get into this, you'll understand a little bit more. It's awesome to have the support of all of your friends and family, but when it starts to interfere with the rider's mental, training, performance, or beginning to become a burden to the team and the team members, it can be a big strike against you. Depending on the severity of it, it can prevent you from getting a ride in the first place, or if you have a ride, it can cost you that ride. There's been riders who have lost focus because of a new girlfriend and the results fall. I've seen friends motivate inappropriate, non-professional behavior at public events. There have been parents getting in fights after the races, which then comes back on the teams. Anything that can reflect poorly on you also reflects poorly on the team. And this is how teams lose sponsors and how teams go away. Always be aware of how you are representing yourself, your team, and try to make it a positive representation. I've also seen parents that won't let go. I understand that the parents have been there since the beginning. My mom and dad were there from the time I started racing all the way up till I got to the pro ranks. I understand that you're very emotionally connected to this, and it's your child, right? So I understand that. But most established teams and race directors have been working with riders for years and know how to get the kids to the next level. You have to let the kids grow their own wings and fly instead of always keeping them under your wing. Yes, encourage them and help them with the different lessons they may encounter, but do that away from the races. A good rule of thumb is, if the kid is old enough to be considered an adult, that's a good time to start treating them like one and let them begin to grow as them.
For sure, parents make a big decision in who I want for drivers. I've had this side all the way to this side with parents where I've had 3 pages of language in my contract just on parental behavior because of some history in the past. And it's unfortunate too because it's ruining the kids' careers. It's like there's a point when a parent needs to let go. and say, okay, I'm going to embrace you and I'm going to support you, but I'm not going to be in your face all the time.
It at times is a hard thing for parents to let go, for parents to not necessarily be involved, but most of these teams that are here, have very experienced mechanics and crew chiefs, and as I mentioned earlier, there's a fit. Are they going to get along good with the crew? Are they going to get along good with me? And if you want to get to that level, personally for me, those are things that I'll look at. I don't want a crybaby or parents that are all of the racers, the parents. They're all representing the team and the sponsors, and without the sponsors, there are no teams.
Heart and grit are much the same. It's having that attitude of never giving up, never bowing out, and fully committing until the end. There's always a chance to take the easy road, and many do. But the person who continues to push until there's nothing left, and then comes back and pushes to their limit again and again, is only pushing their limit higher and higher. And that takes heart. And that takes grit. And going through adversity, going through pain, and continuing towards that goal takes grit. It's easy to see a person that has grit and heart when things don't go to plan. You need to build it into your character that you will not stop. And I promise people will take notice.
Well, one thing I've learned, it's like if a rider comes from like a hardworking background where he's had to work for what he's got, I see a lot more determination than a driver that's born with a silver spoon in his mouth. It's like if they have to make their living off of this, there's that more desire to win, and I see that a lot. I mean, you got to work hard, you got to go through the ranks. It's a tough sport to get to the top. It's not like motocross where they got 8 or 9 manufacturers, we got 3 manufacturers. So pay your dues, work hard, and good things will happen.
And finally, the bonus one, which helped me go from being on a factory team to owning my own factory race team. I had the other things that I talked about figured out, and I started working on my brand. Brand is this topic. The brand is you. I started to work on molding myself into a better person. I looked at my heroes and I tried to learn how to grow in me the positives I like so much about them. From Jeremy McGrath's style to Ricky Carmichael's relentless pursuit and desire to win. Travis Pastrana's well-spoken humbleness and creativity, and Michael Jordan's professionalism, drive, and never say die attitude. Once I started working on myself and started to grow my audience and fan base, more opportunities started to come. From the beginning, I've always loved my fans, and I've always looked at it as an honor to have them. When I look back and I think about the years I used to do dirt work, we put roads and sewers in, and prior to that I baked groceries at the grocery store. And there wasn't one time where somebody asked me for an autograph or said, hey, can I get a picture with you? After I made it to the pro class, I just made up my mind. I said, I'll sign every autograph there is until everyone has one. I'm just blown away by how cool people are. So I just try to give them a great experience every time they see me as well. We do a tremendous amount now with our channels to connect with fans and to help people the best we can. And that extra effort above the results, above the other things I talked about, is what helped mold the LaVallee brand and mold me as a person. And that is what helped me be able to get the support to start Team LaVallee. Thank you for watching. Drop a comment if you have any questions. Please like and subscribe, and good luck in making that dream a reality. Steve, have you had luck getting riders all the time?
I've been super successful. There's only one fish that got away probably in 2002, 2003. I think his number was 108 or 106 or something like that. And that's the only fish I couldn't set the hook on.
I don't know who it was.